All right. Thank you very much, Lata Venkatesh, for telling us about the pilot launch of India's CBDC. Moving on, hospital chain Medanta is all set to debut on Dalal Street. The IPO of Global Health, the operator of the hospital chains, will open later this week. Timsi Jaipuriya spoke to the chairman of the Medanta Group and Pankaj Sahni, the CEO, to find out more on the upcoming IPO and what investors can expect.
Our IPO we're very excited about. It will be 2,200 crores of total IPO size. On this IPO, about 50% of it, which is about 1,100 crores, is reserved for institutional investors. These are as per the rules laid out by SEBI. Over the course of the last couple of weeks, we have been reaching out to institutional investors, both domestic mutual funds, domestic insurance companies, as well as foreign institutional investors. And we've seen a very strong response from several of them. One of the institutional investors actually also participated in a pre-round where they picked up a certain percentage stake in our company just before IPO. So we feel very confident about the momentum that we carry into this, especially from the institutional side. About 50% of the IPO will be for HNI and retail, with about 700 crores of that, or just over 700 crores of that, reserved for the retail segment. Out of the total funds which we receive, the company will be taking 500 crores in its primary, and the remaining will be the offer for sale, which is largely the Carlyle Group, which owns about 20% of the stake, and they will be exiting through the process of the IPO. From the 500 crores that the company raises, about 375 crores will be used for repayment of loans. These are primarily loans which we had taken for our projects in Lucknow and Patna, and that will allow us to further firm up our balance sheet. We already have a fairly strong balance sheet, but this will give us a further cushion and also allow us to be able to optimize on our financing costs and set us up for the growth that we see coming in the future.
When we talk of growth, Dr. Trehan, pre-COVID levels, post-COVID levels, how do you see bed occupancy? What are the major areas, or to be precise, the divisions which are actually driving growth for you? As you said, 25% of revenues come from cardiology division of Medanta, the entire hospital chains that you have right now, 5 and building onto the 6th in Noida. How do you see the bed occupancy quarter on quarter?
So I'll tier it for you. First of all, India is actually midway in its ability to provide healthcare to all its people. And that means that there is a shortage of beds, there's a shortage of human capital, there's a shortage of almost everything. But India is on a very good growth path. So we are seeing in the recent past also, and we predict also, that the growth will be about close to 15% year on year. Because of the fact that there are two things. One, COVID, you asked the question, COVID has actually brought into the consciousness of everybody the value of being healthy. If you saw the people who had comorbidities which were uncontrolled or not taken care of, they suffered much more than the ones who were healthy and devoid of all these comorbidities. So there is currency in health, which I think is a much more of a mind recognition today than it was before.
When we talk of wellness, we also talk about expansion plans. When it comes to the current size of hospitals that you have, how soon can we see the Noida facility coming on board, and what would be your overall bed size, at least in India, with this facility adding?
So currently we are about 2,500 beds across the ecosystem. That's 5 hospitals which operate in Gurgaon, Lucknow, Patna, Noida and Ranchi. And our 6th hospital, as you mentioned, is coming on board in Noida. That will be about 550 beds by the time it is complete. We're currently under construction for that facility, and we expect it to come on board in financial year 25. So by the time that facility is on board, will be over 3,500 beds across these 6 facilities.
And after FY25, if I may ask, the next 2 years, how much are you looking at expanding the bed size capacity?
Well, the way in which we look at it is to make sure that we adopt 3 fundamental philosophies when we look at our growth. One, of course, is that we should be able to always operate at a very high end and a high complexity of care. So if you look at our facilities today, whether it's 1,400 beds in Gurgaon or whether it's the 1,000 beds that will come up in Lucknow, these are facilities that are really operating at the top end, higher standard of tertiary quaternary care. So this has been one of our guiding principles.
So the Medanta IPO will open this week. That was the management in conversation with Tim C. Jayapuria. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News Center. Thank you for watching.